Cheers. Welcome to Friday. Shh. We'll get started in just a moment. I don't know why I like to pretend like this is a live stream. What's going on with that? Cheers again. I think because, having the ability to relax takes time, right? So you clicked on my video, thank you very much. I hope you like it at the same time. If you're new to my channel, just go back and watch some of my episodes. I don't have time to talk about it right now. I have things to do. But I talk about money in an ASMR format. And where was I going with this? I like to ramble about things. So I totally lost my train of thought, you guys. I'm getting old. I don't know where I was going with that. Maybe, oh yeah, it takes time to relax. So you hit the button, you're watching the video, you're like, who's this crazy guy in the hat? What is he, incognito? Like, does he not want people to know who he is? Well, it kind of started that way because, if you're wealthy, people don't know, right? If you're the millionaire next door, you're kind of hidden from society, and that was my idea, right? So I like to teach people that they can be wealthy as well, but they have to kind of like do it quietly, hide who they are. Don't be flashy. If you're flashy, you're gonna blow it. I'm just saying. So I'm a little feisty on this Friday night. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm producing this video on Sunday, and I don't know what the market is doing right now. Are we still in a bear market? Teddy, are we still in a bear market? Yeah. Does this provide ASMR for you guys a little bit? Like we did? This is how Teddy says hello. But see, bear markets are nothing to be afraid of. Isn't he cute and cuddly? This is a teddy bear, an original Steiff teddy bear, and I'm using him in ASMR today, or this week actually, to help people not be afraid right now, and to help people relax right now. Nothing to be afraid of. We're just in a little bit of a bear market. It might get worse. I don't know. But if you're still working, your number one goal, remember, is to keep your income up. Keep your job. Keep investing. Do not stop. Don't look back. I hope that you get lucky like I did finally after 8 years, and I found a company that did really well through recessions. If that's not your case, then you may have to find a new job, but you might get laid off. Who knows? Crazy things happen during bear markets and recessions, if that's what's happening right now. So we will see. I'll pin a comment if something is going on, right? So it should be an interesting week ahead, and an interesting week, in fact, that has finished at the time when this drops, 7 p.m. Eastern, because the market for the entire week and for Friday would have closed by the time this airs. So, Teddy, I'm going to put you right over here, okay? Okay, sit down right there. Oh, don't fall over. Okay, are you good? Okay. Yeah, he should be good right there. He just likes to watch. Yeah. Oh, you did watch the episode yesterday. Teddy says he watched the episode yesterday. Did you relax and fall asleep to the palm tree story? That is my palm tree on my patio, just outside of my patio, and I look up at it all the time. I love it. It is my favorite thing. It makes me feel so free, especially right now that I am in early retirement and the wind goes through the palms, and I absolutely love it. It's so relaxing to me, and I hope it was relaxing for you as well, and I hope that you were able to drift to sleep. And again, I'm taking away the ads in my videos in the middle for a certain amount of time, and maybe forever. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I hope that you watch the entire video. If you could just do that for me as a favor, that will help the algorithm. Like the video as well. Subscribe to my channel. Many people are watching and are not subscribed. I look at the analytics. So please subscribe, like the video, and put some comments down below. Let me know, how is your Friday going? How did your week go? Are you feeling upset about what's going on in the economy, the stock market? Let me know what your thoughts are, because it can be a very troublesome time for people right now. And I'll talk to you in a few minutes about how I feel, so stay for the entire episode. I'll talk to you about what my feelings are here in just a few minutes. But to segue into the content of today's episode, I want to talk through, have you ever thought how much it costs to wake up in the morning, to go about your day, whether it be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? How much does it really cost for you to live every single day of your life? Have you ever thought about that? Well, I want you to think about it today, and I'm going to share with you my numbers, because if you haven't noticed, I've been obsessed with numbers for a very long time. Especially if you've been with my channel for a long time, you know. Go back and watch episodes 1 through 62 where I talk about my past. I know many of you are watching those episodes, so thank you. You'll learn what I thought in 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, every year. And what I did to build wealth slowly over time. And it's that obsession really that helped me build the wealth and to stay on track year after year after year. So I started thinking about today's episode last week, actually, and I wanted to find out actually for myself, how much in 2025 does it really cost me per day to wake up? So what I did was I took my Build-A-Budget and I added up all of my expenses, and of course we have critical expenses and discretionary expenses. My critical expenses are things like my monthly things that I need to pay, like my association, my dental insurance, my electric bill. And then we've got yearly expenses, things like my car insurance, my cell phone that I pay on a yearly basis, my property taxes, are examples of my yearly expenses. And of course we have food, which I don't really put as a monthly expense because I pay myself every week. But I've got food and gas for my car. Although you guys know, lately I have not been driving anywhere. In fact, I'm embarrassed to say this, but ever since I got back from Miami, I may have shared this on another episode, forgive me if I have, but I still have a tank of gas. And that was 2 months ago. And I haven't put any more gas in my car. I just love to walk everywhere. I walk to the grocery store. I walk or ride my bike to the gym every day. Anyway, back to my expenses. So the reason why I mentioned that food and gas really is becoming more food because I'm not spending on gas. But those numbers, my critical expenses are $19,000. My discretionary, which is fun, I call it fun and other, is about $5,272 for a total of $24,000 and some change. So let's just bump it up to $25,000. So really I've got like 20 essential and 5,000 fun and other equals 25,000, right? Right. So if you take 25,000 divided by 12, my monthly expenses are $2,083. But if you take 25,000 and divide it by 365 days in a year, you get, are you ready for it? $68.49. So for me to get up in the morning, it costs $68.49 to get through the day in 2025. So I exactly what I did. How much does it truly cost you to live your life right now? While many of you are still working, right? Many of you are probably still working. You might be retired like I am. The reason why I wanted to share this is because, again, as we know, the market right now is down. And you know what? I can sleep at night. I am perfectly fine. You may know that I'm living on cash right now anyway. So I'm not even thinking about my investments. I don't care if they go up. I don't care if they go down. I chose to live 2025 with my short-term reserves, my cash that I have on the side. And I think next week I'm going to have a ramble, a observation where I just talk through my short-term reserves to give you more of an idea of my new thought process. Because it keeps changing based on what's happening in the market, right? And so to have those options is a good thing, but the reason why I don't really care is I remember 8 years ago or so, maybe 6 years ago, I was thinking about what number would be my FIRE number, my financial independent retire early number. Was it going to be $1 million? Was it going to be 1.5 million? Would I have to wait to get 2 million or 3 million? Of course, I probably wouldn't have gotten to those even if I worked until 70, but I started to realize that I could build for myself what's known and what I call a pad, P-A-D, a pad of money that I'm going to pretend like doesn't even exist. So I chose to use the number of $1 million as the goal. But I actually got, as you guys know, to 1.7 million in net worth. That was a 1.3 or 4 investable assets, 1.3 plus the 175,000 cash reserves and the equity in the home. But as far as the money itself, the money that I would be using to pay for expenses in retirement, I chose to use the million, but I knew that I really had 1.3 million. So I chose to think about the 4% rule, not on the 1.3, but on the 1 million, which is 40,000. The other thing I chose to do, I said to myself, Evan, you've got to keep your expenses super low. Not only do you have the pad of money in the cushion that I just talked about, which is the 300,000 that I really don't necessarily have to have, but I also have wiggle room in my budget. And I've talked about this before. If I can pay myself 40,000 from the million, which is 4%, and my expenses are 25, I still have 15,000 left over. That's where you want to be. And I talk about it all the time because you don't want to go into retirement with needing 40. If you can only pull 40 off of your investments, you have to have wiggle room. So I've got wiggle room over here, 15,000 a year, and I have wiggle room in the money, the engine that I've created as well. So I've got wiggle room and pads on both sides of that equation, if that makes sense, which makes me feel very comfortable about what is going on, especially right now in these troubled times that we may be going into with the threats of a recession. Goldman Sachs just lowered their prediction for 2025 from, I think, 6,200 as the S&P 500 down to 5,700, if memory serves me correctly. That just happened a few days ago. So everybody's now thinking that the market will not be as high as they thought. You should always err on the side of it being less than what it actually may be. And if it turns out to be more, like in 2019, 20, and 21, then celebrate. But always expect lower. And so it's with that thought process then that I can actually observation ramble about how good of a position I'm really in. And I have to look at that, and I'll share that with you, and maybe you can emulate the same kind of a position for yourself as you get older. Because I'll just tell you in a nutshell, remember, I'm 59. In a few short years, I will receive Social Security income of $25,000 per year. That will pay the $25,000 that I need. That's a seriously good position to be in, if you think about it. In other words, why am I getting stressed over, oh, the market's going down, I need the money? No, I don't. I don't need the money right now. I'm using the short-term reserves. I have a CD that's maturing in July of this year. It's $30,000. I'm going to put that in a 6-month CD, which will then mature in January 2026. I'm going to use that $30,000 to live. Plus, I'll have $5,000 left over in my online savings account after 2025, and I only need $25,000. Now, remember, I may need $12,000 more if the Affordable Care Act goes away. I'll deal with that later. But right now, I'm living in the truth of what's happening, and what I know is that I don't need to pay for health care because the subsidies are still in place and probably will be next year as well. That's where the pad comes into play. The pad will be there if I need it. If I have to pay for $12,000 of my own health care, then it will be there. I will be able to pay for it. So, I also want to share with you before we close out this episode, I want to do a little bit of role play for you. I thought this was super interesting. You guys may know by watching my previous episodes that I decided to carry a lot of risk in the fact that I've got my portfolio right now is set at 75% stocks, 25% bonds. Because again, I don't need a lot of that money for 15 years into the future, as I talked about. But let's just pretend, as I mentioned on Wednesday's episode, I think it was, right, where I was talking about how many months it takes to recover a bear market. The Great Recession, I'll use an example. Remember I said stocks lost 56% of their value from, what was it, October 2007 through March of 2009, right? It recovered. It took all that time. No, that was the downfall of the market. It took all that time to reach the lowest it was, 56%. Well, let's just do a little bit of role play. What if we go into another 56% loss of stocks? Like right now, what would happen to my portfolio? Well, I've got now pretty much 1.3 million. It's less because it went down, but let's just go with the 1.3 because it's 1.2. But that's part of the loss that I'm talking about here. 1.3 million. I have 75% stocks. So what's 75% of 1.3 million? It's about 975,000 in stocks. If $975,000 goes down 56%, I would be left with $430,000. That's a big hit. But I would also have the bonds in my portfolio, assuming that they do not go down, and maybe those went up a little bit, but we'll just say they're $325,000. 2022 bonds went down. 2022. But most of the time in a recession, bonds stay the same or go up. So that means my portfolio would go to $800,000 from the 1.3 million, right? Then people would panic if they needed the money, right? Because then they'd be like, wait a minute, how can I take 4% off that? I have to pay my expenses, and my expenses are high. My expenses are $40,000 or $50,000. I don't have any wiggle room. I have no pad, like I just talked about. So they would freak out. Well, you don't have to freak out if you don't need the money. I'm going to be living on short-term reserves for quite a while, right? That's going to rebound and come back up eventually, maybe 14 months, maybe 2 years, who knows? but I will have the cash on the side. Again, I have 150 in cash, right? So that would get me through if that happens. And so that's why then I don't stress out, because most people say we're not going to go in another great recession. It's not going to go down 56%. Right now, I think, when I'm recording this, stocks have gone down about 6%, I believe. That's as of Friday's date. This is Sunday before you're watching this, so I know it's a week later. Again, I'll put some comments, I'll pin them in the comments and give updates about the market and what's going on, because I think it will be a very interesting week. Did it go down further? Did it go up? Did it stabilize? We don't know. But hopefully this episode helps you guys understand my thought process through the years as I was getting closer to early retirement. I did not have to stress. I'm not stressed. I'm very relaxed. I'm listening to ASMR. I'm creating ASMR for you with my teddy bear. We're going to get through this bear market, right, Teddy? Say yes. Very good, very good. So you feel confident we'll get through this, right? Okay. So yeah, see, bear markets are kind of scary, but not when you put them in like a little fuzzy little toy like this, right? He's so cute. So say goodbye to Teddy, and Teddy, say goodbye to everybody. Say goodnight. They might still be awake, I think. Oh, do you want to do the microphone again?